Good day, everyone. Okay, my first live stream. No viewers yet, but anyway, get some stuff out of the way for people that watch this in a future date. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nathan Tadman. This is Wysol's Wisdom, and today I'm going to be talking about Hekate and Lucifer, the connection between Hekate and Lucifer, and kind of what Hekate-Lucifer is, hence why I've put Hekate-Lucifer in the name of the video, not just Hekate / and Lucifer, Hekate-Lucifer. I'm going to explain their intertwining connection between them. Okay. Also, I may smoke in this video. I have been putting off live streaming because I currently still do smoke. And I'm gonna not be a little bitch about it and be like, oh, I have things that I don't like and I'm not going to do stuff because I'm doing that, for example. But yeah, let's talk about Hekate and Lucifer. Now, I may need to turn the lights on at some point, and you may hear some background noise depending on what's happening. I am leaving my door open because I do want to let my kittens come in. I do have kittens now, for anyone new. Well, for anyone that used to watch and is wondering where I've been, I have kittens now. So I've been looking after them for a while, and just working on some other stuff. Okay, hence why I have a website now. There's some other things that I'm not going to talk about, but we'll get into it. So I'm going to put on the light for a moment, just so I can talk about some things and show you some things as well. I don't really like the light where it is, actually. Okay. All right, Hekate-Lucifer. Hekate and Lucifer. So Hekate-Lucifer. We are actually going to be talking about Hekate-Phosphorus. So this is a face of Hekate that is written in literature, written in Greek literature, Greek history. There are hymns to Hekate-Phosphorus. And this is essentially the face of Hekate that is the torchbearer, which is... I don't think you're going to be able to see this very well, but that is Hekate, the torchbearer there. So Hekate as the torchbearer and Hekate as Lucifer. Hekate is the illuminator. She is the one that carries the torches of illumination, essentially bringing light into the darkest recesses and areas of your consciousness. And this illumination is also akin and is Luxfere, Lucifer. Okay, this is the primal craft connection to Lucifer. So Hekate essentially is within primal craft and within some other traditions. Hekate is what's known as the dragon or the all, the mother of all, the source or creation source. And the first spawn was Lucifer, and then Lucifer's second spawn being Belial. I personally like to equate this to the three things that the universe is comprised of. So dark energy, I believe it starts with dark energy being Hekate, dark matter being Lucifer, and matter being Belial. Hence why the earth is known as the body of Belial, and Belial is very connected to earthly energies or matter-related energies. Okay, so that is my connection with the Hekate, Lucifer, Belial thing. So I am going to read out a tiny bit of this book, Liber Chthoniya. Okay. So this is written by Jeff Cullen. It's somewhat new, but it's a very, you could say, informative, plus it has a lot of path working in the book. There is another very good Hekate book that you can get. It is basically out of print. There's also another one, which is The Queen of Hell, Primal Craft. I will show you all of the books. But let me just get this page up. It's I should have got the thing up first, shouldn't I? Shouldn't be a moment. So essentially, Hecate has many aspects or faces of her. Here. Was it in this one? I can't remember if it was in this book or not. I might be wrong. It might be in one of my other Hecate books. It probably is in one of these two. Talks about Hecate Phosphorus, and lovely. I should have looked at it first. Anyway, let's try and remember it off the top of my head. Hecate Phosphorus is the illumination side of Hecate. This is the Lucifer, the Luxfere, the light bringer aspect of Hecate. So Lucifer is basically, you can call them, Curtis Joseph likes to call them scales. Again, you can equate these to also angles of angels, angles of, like, let's look at a piece of paper and draw this circle. All of these fragments are angles, or you could call them scales. And Lucifer, an angle, is one angle of Hecate, which is the whole. Okay. Again, Belial is again another angle. All of these different aspects or faces are different angles or angels of the same source being. Okay. So the Hecate is, I don't even like naming the dragon Hecate, but it is probably some of the early names you can place onto that energy. There is Tiamat, Leviathan, Jorgmundir, and a few others that you could equate to the name of Hecate. But then that's just, oh, we have viewers. Hello, welcome. Who's in the chat? Does it show me who's in the chat? I've never live streamed before. Is there any way I can see people? Participants. Apparently it's just myself, even though there's one viewer. I can't view who's viewing. Okay. As I was saying. Hola, ¿qué tal? I don't speak Spanish, so don't respond in Spanish, please. I'm good. I'm very good. How are you doing? Just chilling for the evening, talking about Hecate and Lucifer. And their connection, and how essentially a lot of you could say Hecateans aren't aware of the Hecate-Lucifer connection. So I kind of wanted to drop a video on it, just questing the universe, as we all, my friend, aren't we all? Doing daily quests. Are you doing side quests or main story quests? They are very deep symbolic beings. They predate. I have found that Hecate, Lucifer, and more. So we'll take Lucifer out of that. Hecate herself predates Greece. Her temples are actually found outside of Greece. So her temples are in Turkey, in the Aegean, which is outside of where Greece is. So she was never a Greek goddess in the first place. She was just taken from those that lived in the Aegean, in the Aegean area of Turkey, of now Turkey. I forgot what it's called in the ancient past, but her temples are located there. And there's also Prometheus, who is not technically Greek, but he's more Macedonian. People do get Greek and Macedonia mixed up because they are basically the same, but they're not the same. But again, Prometheus is also another face of Lucifer, and I'll do that in another video. No, yes and no. In a way, I do fear them. In a way, I don't. You shouldn't, because they are aspects of self, but some of them, for example, Hecate, Lucifer, and Belial, there are parts of them that are external to human consciousness. So you could say you should fear them, because if you were to trust their power and you think that they are these all powerful beings, why wouldn't you, there should be some form of like shit that this being could really fuck me up, essentially. There should be a, I don't want to, yeah. Some people will say, oh, don't fear them, showing fear. No, I don't think showing fear is a sign of weakness. In a way, showing fear can sometimes be some kind of a sign of respect, because it's like your soul is understanding that this energy is not to be fucked with. It's like, don't trifle with this, otherwise I could destroy your life. Yeah, exactly. You have to be very careful. If people that write books, a lot of the good ones will tell you, be careful with this. Like, if you don't follow these things step by step, you will essentially destroy yourself. Essentially, that's what they tell you. And if you don't follow it, you will most likely destroy yourself, because they're saying it for a pretty good reason. See, you're not at the beginning of, if you're new and you're starting a path working, you're probably not one in a physical state for that energy to circulate through your body, which again, my probably next live stream might be on that as well, to even be able to perform and circulate or call in that energy. Anyway, you'll short circuit. Think of it, your nervous system is firing electricity around all the time. You're an electrical being, so you will short circuit your electrical circuit if you can't conduct that energy properly. So yeah, it is very wise to take precautions, be careful, and take it slow, to be fair. So craft and the origins. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't been recording a lot lately. This last year, I've literally barely posted. Just had a lot going on. Like I said at the start of this video, I've got 2 kittens. I've been sorting out finances. I'm going on 2 holidays in like 4 months. So I've got a lot going on, a lot of good things for me. So yeah. But as I was saying earlier, Lucifer and Hecate. Where was it? So this is from a website, because I couldn't find it from the book. It's Hekatecovenant.com. It's talking about Sanctuary of Hecate. So this is a kind of sanctuary that someone's made, but it does kind of give a good explanation on Hecate phosphorus. She is trying to explain Hecate here, but from this explanation, I'm getting it as Hecate phosphorus. So what she says is, Hecate is the one who carries the torch of illumination that light the way, bringing the light into darkness. Hecate is the fire of knowledge, of truth, and of spirit itself. Being the light that resides in the heart, Hecate is a divine spark in our being that illuminates the darkness of the soul. So that is Hecate phosphorus. Because Hecate has many faces, again, let's equate that to one from here. So let's, for example, let's do Hekate-Chthoniya. It was in page 40-ish. Yeah, experiencing her many faces. Where? We're losing these pages. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Cult titles. There we are. Here we are. All right. Hekate-Chthoniya. So, for example, that one was Hecate phosphorus. Hekate-Chthoniya would be the Hecate of Earth, shared by a multitude of God. This title Chthoniya is shared by a multitude of goddess, and the name can be used in work that involves the properties of plants, stones, and spirits of the earth. So anything related to earthly based spirits. And Hekate-Chthoniya again correlates to Belial, as Belial is a very chthonic Atlantean kind of abyssal spirit. And when you when you hear the word chthonic, you think of Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft, stuff like that. That's Hekate-Chthoniya, Hekate-Belial, Hekate-Chthoniya. And then, for example, let's take Hekate-Soteria. Again, another face of Hekate, the savior goddess, another powerful cult title used to overcome extreme circumstances. I won't read any more out of that one, but I'll see if the Hekateon, which is this book, this one is basically non in print, hard to get at the moment. This one, if you recently joined, very easy to get. It's like £70 in hardback. And there's also Primal Craft on Hekate, which is somewhat of a limited print, but it is going to be continuously printed for the foreseeable future. Oh yeah, but Hekateon is expensive because it's barely written. So in this book, though, you do a path working. I believe it's like a 20-something day path working. 23 of each of these different faces of Hekate. 26, 27, 28. 28. So you do 20. There's 28 faces in this particular book, and you do a path working of 28 faces. No, 27 faces. Excuse me. I'm reading day 28 is Hecate's ladder, so I believe that's you're not going through. So there's a minimum 27 faces, but obviously there are more than that. And then this book does give you path workings for each of them. This is just the beginning as well. Like, that's your first kind of half a year. But this is a very good book. It doesn't really give you much information, so it's going to be hard for me to filter through this and read out a quote from it. That's a very good book on Hekate if you can get your hands on it. At times I can feel I can't let Lucy blind me. Spiritual battles are serious business, very strange to witness the world. Ayla! Hello! You are from the Tanu's channel, aren't you? I think. You are? I think. Yes, spiritual battles are very serious. They're happening constantly, more than people think. Let's talk about that for a second, actually, since I've spoken about Hekate and Lucifer for a minute. Spiritual battles are happening every second when people can't see them. I'm going to talk about Project Jedi for a hot minute. So Project Jedi, actually, I'll get another book to read a quote out on. This is Neuronomicon. This isn't a grimoire or anything. This is just a very kind of informative book on the occult. It kind of talks about, it's just a lot of information regarding the occult, and a lot of like information regarding the government and the occult. And I believe that is the one that's bookmarked. So they even talk about ritual abuse. Yeah, Project Jedi. And I mean that, Jedi. This is what they're trying to make, Jedis. Yeah, the government are trying to create occult super soldiers. They've been trying to do this for years. So this is projects. So it started with Project Stargate, and then it turned into Project Jedi. So in 1970s, they started the Project Stargate. This was just remote viewing training. Essentially, they were training people to remote view, so they didn't need to use satellites and stuff like that. And then Project Jedi turned into basically training people to be witches. So training people to practice remote viewing again, but the remote viewing, the basis of remote viewing is meditation, and then remote viewing leads to astral projection. So they were teaching that. So they were teaching the 3 pillars. So if you don't know what the 3 pillars are, meditation or remote viewing, astral projection as a pillar, invocation, evocation as another pillar, and then incantations as a second pillar, as a third pillar. They're basically teaching government agents to perform these for the government, practicing invocation and evocation, incantations, so spell work, doing rituals. They're basically trying to create occult super soldiers in the government. And they are the people that are actually doing, what is it called? The actual gang stalking. A lot of people think they're getting gang stalked. They think they're targeted individuals, but no one's targeting them. No one gives a fuck about them because they're not talking about anything. They work in an office job and they're probably fucking, I don't know, doing nothing. And they think they're a targeted individual. No. Targeted individuals get targeted by people that are groups, like a coven of people. They get targeted with spells and stuff. That's what a targeted individual is. It's not like the government's watching you. The government's watching everyone, bro. Targeted individual is someone that is having spell work done by government occult groups to them. It doesn't really have to be government occult groups either. They could be targeted by kind of occult groups. But yeah. Hello, Ineffable D8, the new confessor. Eric H. Hello, Eric. Anyway, Ayla, how are you doing anyway? If you're still there. Project Jedi, Gov, a question. Neuronomicon. Neuronomicon by someone named Nathaniel J. Harris. I'll probably stick it up there again. Nathaniel J. Harris. Very good read. Very good read. It's just got loads of info regarding occult. It's not like path working. It's nothing like that. It just talks about, for example, like Goetia. Data. Occult data. Yeah. So let's get back to Hekate-Lucifer, because that is kind of what the premises of the stream is. So Lucifer is also predates Christian and Catholic information. The energy of Lucifer you can find in Amun-Ra or Atum, Aten. They like to call it some of the, not the pre-dynastic Egyptians, the late dynasty, like to call it Aten when Akhenaten turned it into a monotheistic religion. But he's also Prometheus, which is again near Greece, just outside of Greece. But he is Prometheus. So Lucifer, what I'm going to say, I'm going to turn the light off because that light is annoying me. I don't need to show you any books anymore. This will annoy a lot of left-hand path and right-hand path people. Lucifer, to me, what I've found is Lucifer is what people would call the definition of God. Like God. Even when you look at the Judeo-Christian religions of what they are worshipping as God, it is Lucifer. They are worshipping the light. Okay? And the angels of the Shemhem Mephoresh are the angles of Lux. I call them the angles of Lux, or the angles of Lux Ferrer, or the angles of light. These are the 72 angels or faces or scales of Lucifer. They are Lucifer and they are also not Lucifer. Each of the faces are kind of like, again, angles or perspectives. You could equate them to, an easy way to equate them would probably be astrological signs. Each astrological sign contains a different energy. You could equate them to that. That is what an angel is. It just has a perspective of the all. It's a way of a perspective of the all is the best way I can put it. But Lucifer is, from what I've found, not just research from, you could say, gnosis, meditation. Lucifer is God. And Belial would be Satan or the devil. But yeah, that's what I found from other people. I haven't even read that from a book, actually. I've never read that in a book. I've heard it from one person, and I've had it from personal gnosis and meditation, that Lucifer is the definition of God, and Belial is the definition of the devil or Satan. They are kind of the two faces of the same coin. Have I worked with Belial? Yes. Belial is dope. Belial taught me some stuff about mantras, actually. Some very interesting stuff about mantras that I will talk about now. I've spoke about on a video. I made a complete video on it. But I'm going to use my phone for this because my friend also pointed me out with something. And you can all join me in this bit. Who has a smartphone? Most of you have a smartphone, right? Okay. Get your smartphone out and go into your number pad. If you go into your dial pad, you'll notice if you remove the star and the hashtag, you have the tree of life right there. You can't see it, it's too bright. If you remove the star and the hashtag from your number pad, you have the tree of life. Okay. Now, Belial taught me that the parts of the name, so like Belial, these, I forgot what they're called, the phonetic parts, they're, you could say, sonic sigils. They're like coordinates. So for example, let's just take Belial. So let's take B-L-A. Bel-E-Al, for example. Okay, so that will be 232. That's the way that Belial taught me that the names of spirits link you to a specific, especially if they're different faces, essentially links you to a specific kind of energy current that could be tied to a culture. It could be tied to a plethora of different things, like a plethora of different things, to be honest with you. I agree. Lucifer will never be God or light when it's considered the Prince of Darkness. Have to be free. Yeah, that's the thing. He's considered the Prince of Darkness, but most people don't read Primal Craft. I'm going to put that one out there. If you read Primal Craft, just reading it is like it drains you, legit, like facts. Like, it's exhausting to read the books. I have Hecate's book on this altar that I'm sitting on here. I have Hecate's altar. This is Hecate's altar I'm sitting on, and Lucifer's altar is behind me there. And I have the Red King in the middle. Essentially, my temple is my bedroom currently, and I have it synced up. So north is that way, west is this way, east is that way. My masculine side is Lucifer, feminine side is Hekate, and meditation, I essentially bring in those energy currents through those books into me. Essentially, that's how I set my shit up. I've set it up a bunch of different times before, but that's how I like it at the moment. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with Primal Craft stuff. Even just having the books, they're talismans. Reading them is probably the most enlightening thing that's anything I've ever read. And I have a lot of books. I have over 5 grand's worth of books. I have a full bookshelf worth of books, and Primal Craft is the most potent shit out there. On an energy level, the fact that I'm very sensitive to energy and reading energy, like, for example, reading crystals, I can just kind of tell what type of energy is coming out just from holding it, sometimes even just looking at them. But these books, the Primal Craft books, again, which is one of them, is this one. They don't compare to anything I own. And it's slightly upsetting because these are cheaper than some of the stuff that I own, which is you got to question the validity of some work that is out there, because some work can fuck you up, quite frankly, and it's very dangerous to do if you do it. Depending on like the authors, whether the authors actually practiced it or not, or if he's just creating stories. Like I remember when I first started into quote unquote witchcraft, I found Curtis Joseph. Again, I'll mention Curtis Joseph a lot. I can recommend him. He is the first content creator on my other creators YouTube bit on my website. I found him because of E.A. Coetting's YouTube channel. And if you're into the occult, you most likely know who E.A. Coetting is. I found him because of his YouTube channel. He had like one video on there. I thought it was Curtis's YouTube channel. I was like, this dude's the shit, because he linked that the particular video linked what I found out before even finding all this occult, all the witchcraft stuff. I was linking the 72 angels and the 72 goetic demons. 72 plus 72 equals 144. 144, you can look at the Bible and see the 144,000. Okay, and these typically a legion of spirits can typically be like 1,000 or 10,000. Okay, so 144 times 10,000, 144,000. Yeah, that guy he's got some knowledge that you won't find anywhere. But yeah, as I was saying, I started off with like E.A. Coetting stuff, and there was like stories in the book. I was like, why are you writing false stories at the start of it? Like, you want me to read on, but you've basically made up the start of the book and said, oh, this is like a story bit. This was just to recreate something. I'm like, dude, why are you chatting shit in your first chapter? You don't want to be reading from stuff like that. EA does have some good books, not gonna lie. There are some decent authors on Balg, so I'm not gonna totally shun them. But be careful with who you're learning from, reading from, because there are some dangerous stuff, and if you follow some dangerous stuff, you can get fucked up. For example, I recently got a book from some very good authors that, for the most part, have really good information. But in one of their books, they tell you to place Leviathan. They're basically trying to recreate a left-hand path, lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and they tell you to place Leviathan on the west cardinal direction. And Leviathan is the circle. Leviathan is the dragon. So it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. What if the creator is the shadow of the fullness, or the logos creating in ignorance our universe out of loneliness? I'm getting weird vibes like that. I have thought stuff like that, to be honest with you. Like, I have, in my perspective, this is a weird one as well. A lot of people would probably think I think that everything is happening for a reason, quite frankly. If these governments, and if these weird parasites and archons, whatever you want to call them, weren't doing what they are doing now, would we be in a position that we would be coming to collective enlightenment or trying to enlighten ourselves? Put that perspective out there, because for the most part, if they aren't doing the bad shit, we aren't going to be doing the good shit. It's an ebb and flow. It's the hermetic principle of rhythm. That's my perspective on that one. Anyway, do we still have someone? Okay, Ineffable is still here. Yes. Where was I? I was talking about Lucifer, wasn't I? I was talking about the angles of Lucifer. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, Lucifer, to me and others, is kind of the definition of God. Lucifer is the greatest archangel. Yeah, yeah. Even that, even when Lucifer is known as the first angle of light, when I look at the first angle of light, I look at angle. I don't look at angel. I kind of remove the angel fairy wing term out. When I see first angle, I see all angles. So the circle, the sun. That's what comes to me when I see first angle of light. So you could say Hecate or God. Or, that's why I don't really like to use the term God, to be fair. But Hecate created Lucifer, the first light. You could even say, "Let there be light," caused the creation of Lucifer. Um, that's just, again, you could say it is just my perspective on things, but it isn't. You could say it's not personal gnosis. I have seen other people speaking about that stuff before, not just myself. Ayla said, but mind duality, Kabbalah, universal structure represents darkness and energy supply. Yeah, it does. I have a pretty decent, a very old video on the Kabbalah, actually. The Kabbalah goes in many different ways because there's a Jacob's ladder in every single sphere. A lot of people actually get lost in the sphere of Yesod because they think they're going up the Kabbalah, the current Kabbalistic tree that they're going, the Sephiroth or the cliff off, but they're actually going up the Jacob's ladder inside the sphere of Yesod. So they're not actually going up to like Satariel, Binah, Chesed, and all the others. They are going through the spheres of Yesod. So they're going up the Jacob's ladder of Yesod, and they actually haven't gone up to the crossing of the abyss and stuff. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people. I'm gonna sit here and tell you right now, I have not crossed the abyss. From what I've heard, it is set for a very small amount of people. Only a very small amount of people have done it and have survived it. I don't know if you get a second chance at it as well. Because from what the Queen of Hell states in the Phoenix Rite, it doesn't really kind of say that you get a second chance. It's like it basically fucks you up if you're unsuccessful. So I've seen people talking about how they've had second chances at crossing. I'm not too. I haven't crossed it, so I can't say I'm not at that level where I can say no, you have not crossed the abyss. I'm just reading people. I don't think many people would have say they've crossed the abyss have crossed the abyss. Very rare for it to actually happen. So from what I've been told, once you do cross the abyss, it is like a complete ego dissolution, like a complete ego dissolution. Because the trinity of prime creator source is cut off and not connected to the root, aka Fibonacci sequence. Yes, I can show you. We are all dragons. I'm going to show you a good picture for that Fibonacci sequence thing. I'm going to need the light on again. And another book. We are all dragons. We are all basically the same thing. Fibonacci sequence, where are you? There you are. So you can also call it the golden mean spiral. Are you reptilian? Yes, I'm an alpha draconian. I am a dragon. I have seen myself as a dragon. I'm also not an alpha draconian because I'm also. Everyone is a different. Like, you have a lot of different genetics. They didn't mate. No, they didn't mate with them. They kind of gene spliced. A lot of gene splicing going on. Freaking in the Atlantean period, a lot of it. As I was saying, the golden mean spiral, like Ada talked about. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this properly, but these all look the same. These are all your fetuses, but guess which one is a human? They all look the same, right? Which means we are all essentially the same thing. Whether you're a dog, cat, fish, you're spawned from the same thing. By the way, that one was the human. That one there. As you can see, human, cow, chicken, turtle, and a fish. At the start, we all basically look the same. We all start out in the shape of the golden mean spiral. They may I think the tree of life, knowledge may be an illusion. The tree of life definitely has been reversed. Most occult books give you a reversed tree of life. I could give you an example in a minute, actually, because I'm just going to read the rest. I'm going to end up getting my whole fucking bookshelf out. Yeah, the tree of life is reversed. Yes, I am part reptilian. Everyone's part reptilian. You have a reptilian cortex. Dracos. Yeah, there's alpha draconians. There are good and bad draconians. Before getting into witchcraft, I dived heavy into like star seeds and stuff. So I did a lot of research on stuff. Yeah, exactly. Humans shed skin. Exactly. Humans shed skin. A lot of animals, come to think of it, shed skin. That's a good fucking point. Humans shed skin. I never even thought about that. Do you mean the dark night of the soul when you say cross the abyss? No. Dark night of the soul is... Dark night of the soul can have different layers to it. I found dark night of the soul is more... It's kind of similar to a hermit phase, where you're going through some shit, but it's not an abyssal crossing is somewhat physical, you could say. It's astrally physical. Okay, it's not mental, it's astrally physical. I'm gonna read out the part of the Phoenix Rite to give you kind of a gist of what crossing the abyss is like. Because the abyssal crossing isn't what a lot of people think it is. Where are you? Phoenix Rite. There you are. 202. And it's basically done right at the end of the book. All right. Okay. I'm just going to read out this bit. The point of no return. Once it has begun, this process cannot be stopped. There is categorically no returning back upon this path once this rite has been correctly performed. There is only forward in higher spiritual evolution and the attainment of magical knowledge and power beyond desire. If the rite is approached with the false ego that leads one to partake in this work without genuine inner desire to reach not only a higher power and understanding within this art, but also the throne of Hekate herself in a state of permanent soul ascension, then its effects will surely cause insanity or worse. So, no, the crossing of the abyss is not the dark night of the soul. Dark night of the soul is very akin to hermit phase, spiritual hermit phase. It's more a shedding of layers. Firstly, realizing you have these layers to shed, and then shedding those layers. It's that the dark night of the soul is the realizing that you have those layers, and you're like, fuck, I need to fucking work on myself, bro. And you're like, so like, you can't be fucked with life, but you realize like you need to do shit. That's the dark night of the soul. Yeah, I don't like to equate Dark Knight. Crossing is the abyss. It's something is literally separate. Throw that to later in life. Throw Crossing the Abyss to later in life, because that's I'm nowhere near. I'm personally nowhere near that yet. That's at the end of this, and this would probably take 3 to 4 years to complete. So that put that for perspective, and I'm not even start. I haven't even started it yet. Again, that is just my perspective on the Abyss and Dark Knight of the Soul. But yeah, no problem. Fish have scales. Humans should skin have eggs. Humans do have eggs. Humans do have eggs, bro. Bro, you're dropping some kind of things to make people think about stuff here, because people don't actually think about it like that. Humans do have eggs. Like people don't people don't really think of it. Like we think we're a mammal. We just kind of pluck it out. Well, I don't mean to pluck it out. Obviously, the females have to kind of push it out. But humans do have eggs. Yeah, dinosaurs related to birds. Yes, cats have eyes equivalent to snake eyes. Yes, they do. Everything on Earth, main related in some way. I hope you rise up, never alone. Yeah, the dark light of the soul is kind of it is like a layer of dissolution of the mind and ego. The abyss crossing has more layers than is physical. Ayla, you know your shit. Spiritual basically collapsing your soul into a black hole. Yep, this is not the only ascension path for man. I think this goes into Akhenaten. I don't know what you mean by Akhenaten. Nathan. Akhenaten? The difference is mammals are warm and reptiles are cold. Yeah, that is true. And obviously they pop the eggs out and we keep the eggs in. I suppose that makes sense. We need to keep the eggs warm. Yeah. I will be right back 1 sec. Talking about cats, I just need to go check on them. So give me a minute. All right, sorry about that. They're cool. My sister's just with them. We've also got a big cat, so we need to sometimes keep them separate. But they've been running around with each other lately. That light is really annoying me. They have been, they've been running around with each other lately, which is a good thing. Yeah, differences mammals are warm. But yeah, Ayla, do you have a channel? Let me click on people's names. But yeah, what Ayla just said is very on point. We could talk about black holes, actually. Black holes are interesting. Lucifer taught me a interesting method of using a black hole to drain energy. The difference is mammals are warm and reptiles are cool. But yeah, as I did say at the start of the video, I do smoke, by the way. I have been putting off live streaming because I smoke, and I've been like, oh, I smoke. I don't want to live stream, and people think I smoke. I've been putting it off, but I do smoke, so I may smoke a bit. The different dynasties in Egypt. Yeah. I've been literally watching some documentaries on Egypt lately. Very interesting, actually. There's recent studies have found archaeological evidence of people living in Egypt 20,000 years ago. And the invasion, I would call that invasion the Persian invasion. The second one was the Persian invasion, but that first invasion, in my opinion, was the Akhenaten. So Akhenaten fucked up Egypt. He basically turned Egypt from a polytheistic culture into a monotheistic solar worshipping culture. And this is actually what started this whole Judaic-Christian thing, believe it or not. So this is all to do with Moses and him receiving the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai. But essentially, I believe it was 4,000 years ago now, when Akhenaten was in rule. Moses, I think it was Akhenaten. No, it was Ramses. But Moses lived during Akhenaten and liked Akhenaten's. No, Akhenaten didn't. Angelic human essential. What do you mean he didn't? But yeah, Moses didn't. I believe it was Ramses that he didn't like. I can't remember. But I believe he was alive at the time of Akhenaten. He took on Akhenaten's solar worship. I think it was Moses he had something against. No, not Moses. Fucking Ramses. Ramses II. He has something against Ramses. And then this led to certain cults being created in not the main area of Egypt, east of the Red Sea, where that kind of section where the Nabateans used to live. There's been places found that prove that there was Egyptian civilization after Akhenaten that started moving that way towards Mount Sinai. And then there's discoveries of archaeological evidence at Mount Sinai of people going there. It's a whole bunch of stuff that they found around that area of kind of factual archaeological evidence of these events happening, and the fall of kind of Egypt preceding monotheism. But it did recover, and then it kind of fell with Cleopatra. So it recovered and fell again. But then the fall influenced the uprising of Judeo-Christian religions. Cats even hiss, which is odd. They were praising Egypt for some reason. Yeah, they were praising Egypt. So they were praised because so the way Egyptian religion worked was they used these deities as embodiments of nature. Then the Netchers, they were embodiments of nature. So they praised it because of lions. There were lions in Egypt at the time of Egypt. It wasn't a desert, it was a Sahara. So there were lions around there. Sekhmet was the lion goddess, but they were worshipped because of their ferocity. They used that lion energy in things like battle. They would do invocations and praises to Sekhmet before battle, to engage that ferocity and primal power before fighting. So a lot of the deities, they didn't see them as external. This is why the pharaohs were considered living gods, because they embodied the gods. Some of the gods they did consider external because they called them, they were celestial constellations, but some of them, they were embodiments of nature. Very similar to Norse traditions, how they their gods are embodiments of nature as well. There are a lot of connections with Norse and Egypt traditions. Even though they're quite far apart, there are quite a decent amount of connections. For example, like Loki and Set. You could even, might annoy someone, you could even correlate Amon-Ra and Odin being worshipped in a negative way. Amon-Ra was, there isn't much evidence of it, but there is some hieroglyphs of people not liking, starting to fall out of praise of Ra after the monotheism that occurred in that area. Do you think Norse Yes, I think they are definitely Atlantean. I think they're older than the Norse culture by a mile. I think they are related to the land that is now underneath the sea east of England. So if you go, I used to look on Google Maps a lot and just like look at the underwater areas. You can see like blurred out places where people that control the satellites don't want you to see. And there are areas of east of England and south of England that used to be not underwater before the flood. And before the flood would have been the Atlantean period. I do think those gods came from that area and they kind of got pushed into Scandinavia after the flood. But yeah, I definitely think they're Atlantean. I think there is a massive connection to Egypt and their gods within Egypt. I have the left side of my body is tattooed with like Norse stuff, and the right side of me is Egyptian. So yeah, there is a very strong link between Atlantis, Norse, and Egypt and Atlantis. Especially with the fact that dragons, there's one thing that connects all cultures, and that is the dragon. You can pretty much look at probably 95% of cultures. There is a dragon involved somehow. It's an interesting thing to think about, because then you have like the more modern slaying of dragons, but then in other ancient cultures they would worship dragons. So you would notice there that there was a decline in the worship of these primal forces and an incline in the worship of a kind of singular force that is within the dragon. It's like, yeah, I don't know what happened with the world, but it went downhill. Mark does like to explain it in Primacraft. He did say we abused the power back then. We abused it, so we fucked up the world and we reset it. It's not it reset, it's we reset it because we were stupid. Where do dragons exist in the spiritual and astral realm? Oh no, you had some other comments before that. I put that down while I talk. I don't believe in bad. Neither do I. I don't believe in bad or good luck. I think everything happens for a reason, and you get what you deserve. As harsh as it sounds, you get what you put out. Something is trying to enslave humanity. Yes, definitely. There is definitely something trying to enslave it, but then again, you can also look at it as, if these people weren't there trying to enslave it, would there be people like us trying to kind of break it free? Again, there has to always be an ebb and flow. Where do dragons exist in the spiritual realm? Some like to say they exist beyond the abyss, but I haven't crossed the abyss and I've met dragons, so it's a bit hard to say that. Everything is a dragon. Where the dragons exist in the spiritual realm, everywhere. Like, I've seen angels riding dragons. I've seen angels as dragons. I've seen demons as dragons. I've seen myself as a dragon. The dragons are connected to earth energies. There's a book called DJ Conway's Dragon Magic where there's a lot of dragon magic in there, and you can connect to dragons without crossing the abyss. So yeah, they exist everywhere. They essentially exist in the layers of light that we can't perceive. So we're perceiving like 2%. There's probably a dragon in each other percentile, a different dragon that represents each percentile of or layer of light. No. Ineffable. Your story about Typhon connects the Greek gods to being gods of Egypt. Yeah, I would say a little bit of the opposite, because the Greek society loved to take gods from elsewhere and place them in their own. So Poseidon never was part of the Greek pantheon. Was actually worshipped on the shorelines mostly before Greece even became, or the Greek culture even became a thing. Hecate was worshipped in the Aegean before Greece even became a thing. Prometheus was worshipped in Macedonia before Greece even became a thing. So there are a lot of Greek gods that presided outside of Greece even before Greece became a thing. And even, for example, Hermes Trismegistus is Thoth. So I think Greek took a lot of their surroundings, and there is, I forgot if I read it or someone said it. I believe someone said it. The Greeks like literally like to take things from other cultures and apply it to their own, which is why you'll find a lot of their culture is based on their external cultures, like what's around them. You'll find similarities with Rome and Greece. You'll find similarities with the civilizations that lived in the Aegean in Greece. You'll find similarities with the civilizations that live below Greece, and you'll find similarities with the civilizations that live above Greece. It's kind of like cultural epigenetics in a way. Jeez. Okay, there was a lot of comments since then. Law of equivalent exchange. Do you think the world is flat or sphere? True blood complex study. Flat or sphere world? It's multi-dimensional, so it's both. There, I said it. It's both. If you're looking at it from on the horizontal axis, is completely flat. But if you're looking at it from a multi-dimensional perspective, it could be both. But I don't even like to call it a world. I like to call it a plane net. So planet broken down into plane and net. A plane of existence encapsulated a net of, I don't know what a net is, to be honest with you. It's just the way I like to call it. You could say it's like a gravitational net or a mental net, because I have come to the conclusion that it is potentially possible to fly. So that is why I call it a mental net. Tree of Life is complex study worldwide. Tree of Life is very complex, especially when you get into the nitty and gritty of it. And if you read some Kabbalistic texts, it does get really complex. I believe we go through different evolutions, we embody new impulses. Yeah, we definitely do. We have different incarnations to kind of experience these different impulses, to create a whole experience. So, for example, you may have been Ayla. I'm guessing you are a female. You could have been a male in a past life. You could have been a young female in another life. You could have been donkey in a life. I've been a dragon before. I have lived in Egypt twice. I've lived in Japan in another life. Those are lives that I know of. I haven't gone too crazy into my past lives, but Egypt twice, Japan, and a dragon. The date that came to my head for the dragon was 750,000 years ago. So take that as a grain of salt. But that was a very interesting experience. Someone told me they come up with a concept called Rise Up Out the Abyss. I've heard some stuff like that. You can mentally cross the abyss as a preparation for the kind of more physical crossing. I've seen some stuff about that, so you can kind of work with these spheres without working up the spheres. That is the kind of mental preparation. I don't see paganism as false, neither monotheistic religions, therefore essence of Christian. Indeed. No, I don't see monotheism as false either. I do think monotheism is being used to manipulate. I don't see it as a false doctrine, so to say. I think there are kind of falsities to it, but in a whole, a lot of monotheism isn't really false, if you know what I mean. The balance, the black dragon, or Lucifer force. Yes. Those old titans. Yeah, they are all titans, but titans to the Greeks, again, they predated Greece. So, like, they were there before Greece scripture or culture was even a thing. Like, before that pantheon, the titans, that was even a thing. Like, they just existed in a different place. Growing up and told never trust a snake. Snakes are pretty cool. Actual snakes. I don't have one. I did want to get one before though, but I didn't. How do you track past incarnations? I believe giving birth through oneness, another form of reincarnation through DNA. How do you track past incarnations? You trust yourself. You need a connection with your higher self or your holy guardian angel, or at least your kind of inner daemon, which is your higher self is like a higher version of your inner daemon. Your inner daemon is more focused. I would need to explain the monad to talk about the higher self, but it starts off like monad as source, and then higher self is like these overarching oversouls, you could say. Like the higher self, your higher self isn't just your higher self. Your higher self is an oversoul, and then your inner daemon is like your what you think as a higher self. Okay, your daemon, your inner guiding spirit. But your higher self is an oversoul that's a group highest oversoul. Not false esoteric, it might be more correct to say. Yeah. That is the best way to put it. Believe in giving birth through oneness, another form of reincarnation. Yes. Yeah. Rebirthing yourself. You can even call it rebirthing yourself, because I find I'm not even sure if this is with me as well. I'm not sure if some of what I feel like is my past lives are just genetic memory. I think a lot of what people will perceive as past lives, I don't think we have had I've seen people have like thousands of past lives. I don't think we have that many. And if you do, you must be screwing up every time or something. I think a lot of what some of us perceive as past lives is genetic memory. So like you said there, I believe giving birth through oneness, another form of reincarnation through DNA. I do feel we push on our energy through through having babies is what I'm trying to say. Through making babies, we push forward our genetics through making the babies, and we're kind of reincarnating. We're creating another self, but there isn't just self in a way. But it is leading to that genetic memory, the continuation of your genetic memory. So in a way, it is a form of reincarnation through DNA. Yes, I can speak on the monad, and the daemon and the higher self. Give me a minute. I'm going to grab a book to explain it. Show you a picture of the monad. And this one, because someone spoke about earlier the tree of life being inverted. I'll show you a picture of an inverted tree of life once I show you the monad. This is a very big book. This is Ascension Magic by Christopher Penczak. It is more kind of Wiccan. I mean, his writing is more Wiccan, but it is a very good book. How does it all tie to Hecate? So you could say Hecate is the binding force that. Let me get this. So I like to put Hecate outside the monad. You could equate Lucifer to the monad. Lucifer being light, lux. So this is monad. This would be higher self, oversoul. And then these would be kind of individual souls branching out of the inner daemon, branching out of the oversoul, or the higher self, which branches out of the inner daemon, which is an angle of Lucifer, aka the monad. Hence why this is depicted as a star. So you could say Lucifer, oversouls are angles of Lucifer, angels of the monad, and these are the daemons of the angels. Yeah. And if you know about angel and demon work, you'll know that a lot of the angels have a counterpart demon, a lot of demons have a counterpart angel. So yeah, that is the monad and the kind of angelic higher self, as I like to call it. I don't really know what more I can speak about on that one because I haven't studied the monad too much, but that is how I correlate it to. So the daemon is you could put it like that. The inner daemon is the individual's higher self, you could say, like individual in brackets. And then the oversoul or the higher self is the oversoul of a multitude of daemons. Think of it like an archangel that rules over angels in a way. But the monad is very interesting. There's not that much information on it. There is handful online, but it's not that great. I've only found it in this guy's. I don't have that many books, to be fair. But I've only found it in that guy's books. There are mentions of it. It is mentioned, I believe Blavsky mentioned it. Blavsky. Yeah. Helena Blavatsky was the one that defined the monad. So she does speak about it quite a bit. I haven't read a lot of her stuff because I'm not really. I was told to avoid it a little bit because it's quite love and light, you could say. It doesn't really. You could say there's blinders. There's occult blinders in it. It's not very truthful, but there's decent information in it. You can pick parts of a lot of things that have decent information in it. Like this, like I don't path work Christopher Penczak stuff because a lot of it is written in kind of in a Wiccan way. So I don't path work it, but I can take information from it and still utilize it. So there are books that you can get for, like, for example, 20 quid that's that thick. It's got a plethora of information. I personally hate reading computer screens. If I could get this on PDF for free or spend, like, for example, Mark Allen Smith's books, you can get those in PDF, but I'd rather spend 80 quid and get a book. I'd rather lay down, I don't know, chill with a book instead of like having to stare at a computer screen that's going to drain my eyes and hurt my eyes or something like that. But yeah, I do like to call the daemon the individual higher self. Daemon being the individual higher self, and then you could say the oversoul is the... What the fuck was that on the screen? That was weird. That was very weird. Anyway, is there anyone actually still in here? It says there's no people watching, but there are... Yeah, it says Ayla's here, but it says you're not here. It's very strange. And now my chat's gone. What the fucking hell? Oh. Okay, that was back. Sorry, this is the first time I'm live streaming. I'm not used to it. Yeah, I'm having... Are you seeing glitches on the screen? Because I'm seeing a handful of like visual glitches. Yep, just there. Bruh, like now. What the fuck? And again. That is weird. What is... Do I need to get a voice box out? Is there a spirit in the room trying to talk to us? What is that? What is a voice box? A voice box is a ghost detector. I'm not sure how this voice box is working. Is it working? I'm not sure how it works. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, this is a voice box. Bruh! Did you hear that? There's something here. That distorted when my videos. Greetings. This just got very interesting. Is there a spirit that wants to communicate? Yeah, something speaks while my screen... Did I just hear mouthpass? Interesting.
Years.
I keep getting responses, and my thing keeps going crazy at the same time. I'm gonna watch this video back and listen to this again. I swear I heard Malphas. The name Malphas. Put it down. Yeah. I might have to do this more often, actually. Should we do, like, voice box live streams? I'll obviously have to, like, set a circle and shit, but that would be interesting. But yeah, I definitely think, like, there is a spirit here. Interesting. Give me a minute. Ah. Lucifer's interfering. He's wanting to thank me, but he also directing Malthus, telling me to talk to Malthus. And yes, I did hear him speak Malthus. Okay. That was for me. About fucking time, apparently. About time I live streamed. But I do think I should also do some voice boxing sometime, because that would be interesting. I can do mediumship things. I wouldn't say I'm full-blown medium. I can't. The voices aren't very external. They're more like thoughts that aren't my thoughts. Visually, I don't see spirits without my eyes closed, so I would have to close my eyes. Sometimes I do, on a rare occasion. Like, I'll see distortion in my video is still going crazy. I don't know. Sometimes I'll see distortion, like for like my closet used to do it quite a lot before. It would just like vibrate, like it would just go be like literally as you see it on the screen, it'd be like that, but like the wall going. I have seen a spirit flying past my balcony, and I have seen UFOs. I don't know whether to call them aliens. Now they're glitches again. You can't hear me? Oh jeez. Can you hear me? I don't know if it's my internet. It shouldn't be my internet. It shouldn't do that. It should buffer. It should buffer. It should buffer if it's the internet. I am unfortunately using Wi-Fi because my computer doesn't have a web. a webcam. Strange. So you can't hear me at all? Or is it just choppy? It looks like it's gone back. No, it's just... Jeez, what is... It's back. The audio, because the video is still weird. It's still sketchy for me. Okay. The audio is back at least. Okay. It is just... I do believe I'm gonna call it. I could stay on for another 15 actually. I do need to go eat some food. I'm starving. Ayla, do you have any other questions? Because you're not really... You haven't been on my channel before, and I feel like just talking about stuff. Would you be interested in seeing like things like voice box lives, like using that voice box again and doing that on a live to see if there are any kind of ghosts, spirits that want to communicate, stuff like that? That would be pretty dope to do on a live stream. I don't mind doing that. Obviously, I would be preparing a space and stuff. That'd be pretty dope. Yeah, I could potentially. I would prefer. Yeah, I would prefer to have that kind of ritually done though, because fucking with voice boxes and like communing with dead spirits isn't... You don't do without setting space up and stuff like that. I'll try to figure out why... I'll try actually to get a webcam so I can do it on my actual computer, which hopefully the jittering on it stops. Maybe not. Maybe it does. I don't know. But yeah, I've also thought about doing tarot readings and stuff as well. I don't do tarot services, but I have done tarot for myself before. I've done it for other people before. Yeah, I will definitely do more live videos. I will probably at least do them every couple of days, potentially every day. Once I go on holiday, I need to find out if I can do it live stream while in Egypt. I'm not sure on their like laws of live streaming and stuff like that. They're a bit very strict on recording and all of that stuff. So if I can, while I'm on holiday, I will live stream probably like once or twice, maybe at like because I'm at my hotel. One of them's at the pyramids and one of them's on the Nile. That'd be a cool place to kind of set up and do a live stream. Yeah, I'll definitely do more live stream videos, because again, it is more personal. You do get to try and talk as well, and I get to respond to people and interact, which is a lot better than doing a video, in my opinion, because you're just kind of speaking to a camera and not to a person. Like, there's no interaction with another person, which is intriguing. It's a lot better. Funny thing is, I actually used to live stream as a kid, in live streaming games for a little bit. I actually did try a YouTube channel live stream, like gaming and stuff like that. I'm a lot like Atanu, honestly. I came from a gaming background. I'm a bit of a League of Legends. I think he played MMOs. I never asked him. I'm curious about Malthus. I have never worked with Malthus. I literally watched, I think it was Eldoria and Crow and Atanu talking about, or it might have just been a Cold Cat talking about Malthus. But then I could swear I heard this thing say Malthus. No shit. I swear I heard it say Malthus. I heard something say Malfa. Like, it was like Malfa. I was like, what the fuck? And Lucifer. Lucifer is always around. I will show you something. So Atanu has the Queen of Hell. I don't think he has this. So this is the Red King. This is the second book in the sequel of books on the Primal Craft. That's the front cover. That's the seal of the Red King on the back. This is very, yeah. I've read Queen of Hell. I've read Queen of Hell. I've read the Red King. I have all of the Primal Craft books. I'll show you them if you haven't seen them before. Oh, bloody hell! Give me a sec. They're under here. I'll show you the front and shit. Oh, bloody hell. So this one's Altar of Cain. This is a very, even though majority of these books are to do with like animal sacrifice, I would still read them. They're very informative, a wealth of knowledge, even if you're not going to practice sacrifice. In this book, it even talks about like elven delves and stuff like that. Maybe you are understating yourself, because you don't have to practice them. You can, just reading them is a toll. Honestly, like, just reading, like, I've got all of them and I've read 2 fully. It's legit like a toll to read. Like, just taking in the information is a bit of it can be a bit of a toll. Yeah, you don't need to practice any of the blood sacrificing at all. There is a path in. So yeah, I'll quickly show you them. So this is Altar of Cain. On there. That's the back. This is the Crown Prince of the Sabbat. This is sacrificial work for Lucifer. This is Lucifer's sacrificial book. I believe this one's Lucifer. Again, I haven't read these, so don't quote me on that one. That's the back of it. These are the most beautiful books I've ever seen. Genuinely. I'll show you some other expensive books as well, and just to compare, these are so. Look at these. This gold leaf gilding as well. For anyone that has, I think there's another person viewing. No, I don't know. For anyone that does join at this point, I'm sorry about the camera. It's just going weird. I'm gonna probably stop the live at about, what's the time? About 10 minutes. But yeah, they're so beautiful. Like just the feel of them as well. The pages aren't thin. Like they're not those thin pages. They're thick pages. This is the Witch Blood Grail. This is the Book of Sepharans. This is the one that Atani does mention quite a bit that he wants to get. And that's the back of it. This one, the Altar of Sacrifice. That's the front. And that's the back. They're there. They're so beautiful. And this is the Scorpion God. This is the one that I'm currently reading. This is the one on Belial. Yeah. Not practice. I feel just by reading them, it will open up portals timeline. Indeed. Not even reading them, just having them in the building will open up portals / timelines. They are talismans. They are already kind of opened up and consecrated as gateways. So simply owning these opens up a gateway within your domain, quite frankly. Especially placing them out like I have done with the Queen of Hell and the Red King, how I have them like opposite each other at the western wall and the eastern wall. They're very potent. But they are, I think of it as like a dedication. But yeah, I literally I think I bought Queen of Hell, Red King, and something else. I think it was the Altar of Sacrifice first. And then I bought the rest because as soon as I got the other one, the others, I felt them. Like I compared them, like no, literally just feeling them. Like you could feel something was coming through the box of the books. Like you could, it wasn't normal. You could feel energy coming through the box. Let's take Baron and Baronessa Arachne, for example. Baron and Baronessa Arachne are still, they're very good occultists. I have not met Sepharans. I did a little ritual with Sepharans. You could say I have met Sepharans actually then, because there was a manifestation that did occur when I did the ritual. But let's quickly compare £80 or $80 to $150. So, yeah, Primal Craft, in my opinion, is worth the buy. But this is Baron and Baronessa. These will never go out of print, though. That's a good thing about Baron and Baronessa Arachne stuff. So yeah, have I met Sepharans? I did say no, but yes, I have. But not in like a I've seen her way. I did a ritual at the very beginning of when I got my Primal Craft books to kind of connect to the deities of the Primal Craft. I did it for 10 days. What I did was a kind of a 10-day blood rite to connect to them, where I did bloodletting from each different finger for 10 days straight. So like one day I'll do this one, the next day I'll do the next thumb, the next day I'll do this finger, the next day I'll do that finger, the next day this finger, etc., etc. I did that to the 4 deities of the Primal Craft. And what I think it was the first day actually. So like the first time I did it, when I was vibrating Sepharans' name, my incense smoke started spiraling upwards. Like, not in a DNA form, it was just like a spiral that just got bigger and bigger as it went up. So there was a manifestation there, but there wasn't like a picture of her, if you know what I mean. So yeah, my astral sight isn't as great as I want it to be. I don't think I'm an astral sight person. I'm more claircognient. I just know things. I don't know why. I just know shit. I have clear feeling. I'm very good at feeling people's energy and just kind of reading them, whether that's in person or through video, something like that. I'm not as a astral sight person. I'm a little bit of astral hearing. Again, I wouldn't really call myself clairaudient. I don't have strong clairaudience. Again, everyone has different strengths in their clair abilities. Mine is claircognizance, so clear knowing and clear feeling. Clear seeing and hearing less so. But I still can do, again, with my eyes closed, and when I'm in kind of the no mind state, I do get the voices, the thoughts that are not my thoughts. Discernment and spiritual gifts is more important, so, which is not the same. Discernment and spiritual gifts are more important than psychic abilities. Yeah, that's very true. Being able to judge what's good and what's not good for you is more important than being able to sense and see things. Because even if you can sense and see things, not being able to judge what is good for you, you wouldn't know whether to judge it, whether it's good for you. Like, I imagine if we could see the other spectrums of light but not know whether it was good for us, that'd be fucked up. We'd all be fucked up. But yeah, I have not met. Yeah, no, I didn't met Sith friends, but they are. Oh, that was about the books. All right, Ayla, I do need to wrap it up because I'm very hungry, and I haven't eaten dinner today, and it's in the evening for me, so I do need to go eat. Thank you for joining me, though, and I do hope you join in the next one. Potentially tomorrow, potentially Saturday. Depends what happens. Okay, I think I need to go get some cat food after work. I work part-time. I run business. I'm doing my YouTube stuff. Probably similar time, about 8 p.m. UK time. Between 8 and 9 p.m. UK time. So yeah, similar time. Maybe half hour later, because I think I need to go get cat food tomorrow. Okay, but yeah, thank you for joining. For anyone that does watch this in the future, thank you for watching. Oh, Maximus has joined. And he's just left. You may get to see the cats in another live stream. Anyway, thank you for watching again. But anyone watching in the future, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Peace out. Peace out, Ayla.